Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing some Vylon test hands. So this is a really interesting deck that is a synchro-based deck that summons some really amazing mechanical fairy monsters that just overall work with equip spells and make an amazing plays. I'm really excited for this one because this is actually a Patreon request deck profile and test hand, which is by Gloomba331, and this is an amazing deck for you, Gloomba. I think it's a really fun aspect that I've made for this deck. I've made it more focused on an old aspect of this deck where it's focused on something in Epsilon opposed to the other Vylon monsters because some of the other ones are a little bit difficult to summon in the archetype. So, without further ado, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and just like Gloomba did, definitely check out the Patreon for all those awesome rewards like getting your name description for every single video, getting a signed card sent to the mail, or even getting to request a deck profile with test hands every single month that you are a patron. So, let's get straight on into this, and let's see what we can actually pull off with this deck. If we don't draw the exact insane combo, I will go ahead and just show you guys the insane combo, because this deck can actually summon out and get you like a +5 on your side of the field really easily, and it's just overall an amazing deck. It's actually based on fairies and machines, and it's really neat the way that they actually designed this deck, and it's one of those decks I've actually never picked up, because I don't know what it is, but it's like some of the Hidden Arsenal decks, it's like I just look over them and I don't build the Hidden Arsenal decks as much, where like I don't build Lavals, I haven't built Lavals, I haven't built Steel Sworn, I haven't built Mist Valley. There's just a couple of those, Flameville, I haven't built anything with Flameville. Like there's just some of the Hidden Arsenal decks that I just kind of looked over and just bypassed and didn't build them, which is kind of weird to me. So, let's go ahead and see what we can do with this, and definitely give Gloomba some love down in the comments down below. So let's go ahead and see what we can pull off with this particular test hand. So we're going to go first like normal, and we're going to go ahead and draw into a copy of Goblinberg, a copy of Sphere, Rod of Chaos, Vylon Element, and a copy of Vylon Cube. Okay, so we do have the insane combo, which makes this deck bonkers. Okay. So what you're going to do right off the bat is normal summon out a copy of Goblinberg. Goblinberg will switch itself to defense position, and the two main cards of this combo are going to be your copy of Rod of Chaos and your Vylon Element. Vylon Element is insanely good. So then you're going to use your Goblinberg on your side of the field to special summon out a copy of a level 4 lower monster, which we're going to special summon out a copy of Vylon Cube. Now I'm going to put it down here because you don't want to do anything with it once you summon it, because you're going to want to go ahead and activate the Rod of Chaos on it. Now you want to activate your Vylon Element. Now the important thing is if this sphere would be a copy of any of your Vylon spells or traps, like a copy of Segment, we're going to go ahead and add that copy of Segment from deck to hand. With that particular hand, instead of activating this, you could synchro for a 7 right here and search if you wanted to, but I'm just going to show you guys like we have the insane combo, and just show you it was pretty consistent to actually get it out. You were only missing one card from it. So we're going to activate the copy of Rod of Silence Chaos, and then we're going to use Vylon Cube to be able to equip a copy of the copy of Vylon Segment to it. Now once you activate the copy of Vylon Segment, targeting the Vylon Cube, the copy of Chaos will then activate and say, hey, this cannot be on this, it's got to be destroyed. So this will be destroyed. Element will trigger and Segment will trigger. Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2. You want to be able to protect one of the two by chain blocking and add any Vylon spell or trap from your deck to your hand that's an equipped spell, which is what Segment is going to help you do. Then you're going to use your copy of Cube to be able to special summon out from your deck a copy of a Vylon tuner monster thanks to Vylon Element. So now you just immediately activate Component, target it again, it'll pop itself again, you'll use the effect of Component, and Component will let you special summon another Vylon monster from your deck, which is going to be your copy of the level 2 tuner monster. Once you got that monster out on the field, you'll get a search, and this will summon this, so you'll get an additional search of another Vylon spell or trap. That is a equip spell. Add your copy of your material. Material will then activate, target the cube. Cube will then pop it because of Chaos, and then it will special summon out an additional Vylon to your side of the field that's a tuner monster. So you're getting another tuner monster to your side of the field. So we're going to special summon this time. We're going to summon another copy of Prism. So now that you have this on the field, you can actually go for some really cool plays. You can actually use these monsters on your field to go for some really neat monsters on your side of the field. So we're going to go ahead and summon out a copy of Epsilon. So we're going to go ahead and synchro these two together, and we're going to summon out our copy of Vylon Epsilon. Now we didn't get our other search off of our copy of our, what was it called? The copy of our material. So we're going to add Filament from our deck to our hand because we want to end with a single copy of a segment on the field to equip to the Epsilon. So now you can special summon another tuner monster to your side of the field by equipping the element or the filament to your copy of Cube, which will special summon out. Let's just go ahead and grab a copy of Cube. Cube will get onto your side of the field, and now that we've summoned a Cube, you can start link summoning if you want to. So we're going to go ahead and link summon these two away. Summon out a copy of Crystalline Needle Fiber. Once you summon out the copy of Crystalline Needle Fiber, you can then use its effect and special summon out from your deck a copy of a Vylon tuner monster or a tuner monster to your side of the field, which is going to be Sphere. Then, since you used as a synchro material your copy of your Cube, well, excuse me, no, you used that as a link material. Since you use Prism as a material, you can equip that to your copy of Epsilon, which I totally forgot about, which will give it an 1,000-point boost, which is pretty cool, because if this card is sent from your monster card zone to the graveyard, you can pay 500 life points and then equip it to a monster. Then, if you want to link climb even higher, you can link climb into an Appaloosa to give you additional negations, or you can go for Link Cross or Union Carrier, either one of these to go for additional plays. It's totally up to you which one of the three you want to go for. For my instance, though, I probably would go for the copy of Union Carrier, just to be able to get myself, well, maybe not. I probably would go for the Appaloosa, just to give me an additional negations on my side of the field. I would go ahead and send these to the graveyard, and I didn't get my search off the copy of Filament. I totally forgot to get the Segment. So you're going to get your copy of Segment on your side of the field as well, and then you have an Appaloosa with 3 negations, and then you have the copy of Segment that is going to equip onto your Epsilon. So Epsilon is going to be sitting at about 3,800 when it does battle. It's going to be unaffected by your opponent's, it cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects or by trap effects, and if this face-up card on the field is sent to the graveyard, you get to add a Vylon spell or trap, or a Vylon spell from your deck to your hand, which is really cool. If you wanted to get an additional tuner out on the field, you could have equipped this to this monster instead, but we're just going to equip it onto our copy of Epsilon just to give it that extra boost, because you're trying to get Epsilon out on the field as quickly as possible. You have 3 negations of monsters, and then you have a big beat stick right here, which is going to be super helpful. Now, if we draw for turn, we're going to draw into a Prism. Prism can be normal summoned, and then you can just attack with this particular field, which is going to be really, really nice. So that's the insane combo of what Vylon can do. Now, keep in mind, occasionally you're going to do what I did, and you're going to forget about the searching. You have the play here that if this card is sent from your monster card zone to the graveyard, then you can equip this card as well. If you want to pay that extra 500 because we used it as a link material to summon our Appaloosa, if you want to go that route, you can. And then you can send it to graveyard just like the Infernobles do, where you can send this card to the graveyard and then target one equipped spell in your graveyard and equip it to the monster this card was equipped to. So you can send this to the graveyard if you want to, and then equip a copy of, say, Component if you wanted to give your copy of Epsilon an additional boost, or you can equip it with a copy of the material and it'll give it an additional 600 boost, making this monster go well over 4,000 when it does battle. It goes up to 4,400, and it cannot be targeted by trap effects or monster effects, and it protects all of its equipped spells that are equipped to it, which is really, really nice. So let's go ahead into the next test hand, guys. That was the insane combo. I'm glad I got to show you that right off the bat, because it really works. You could climb a little bit more if you want to climb a little bit more, because you could go in for a copy of, I don't know, say, you could go in for a copy of your Link Cross, if you want to go for Link Cross, just to get you additional materials on the field to go for additional synchro plays, but it's totally up to you how you kind of play out the final hand. I like this particular field where you had those monsters on board because it gets you negations, it gets you 3 negations, and then the Epsilon is a big looming menace against your opponent, where you have a big beat stick against your opponent as well. So let's go ahead and shuffle this deck up really quick and see what we can do with the next test hand. So right off the bat, we're going to get a copy of Goblinberg again, Sphere this time, Cube again, Prism this time, and a copy of Goblinberg. So we didn't draw any equip spells, but that's okay. We still have plays that we can go into. I'm going to show you guys a really defensive play and an offensive play as well. So we're going to normal summon out the copy of Goblinberg, switch it to defense position, summon out the copy of Prism, and then you have two plays that you can do. You can either overlay both of these monsters and go into a copy of Utopia Double, which is going to be a pretty nice play to OTK your opponent. If you're going second, which if we were going second, we'd have a copy of United We Stand in our hand. You can detach a material, search out your copy of Double or Nothing, and then do something very simplistic where you just detach this card, add the copy of Double or Nothing from your deck to your hand, summon out Utopia Double, and then swing at your opponent, detach a material, drop the Double or Nothing, and swing for 10,000, and do a preemptive strike just to see if you can go at your opponent for all that damage. Now, if this didn't OTK them, it does stay at 5,000, and if they pass turn and you get to keep your monster, let's just say that we're going into turn 3 and our opponent did destroy this and we didn't quite OTK them. I'll show you guys what else you can do, which we just drew a really amazing card in our hand. So you can just go ahead and do something really cool with this hand by normal summoning out your copy of Goblinberg, which will special summon out your copy of Cube, and then you can use the copy of Cube or the copy of Galaxy Soldier to discard your sphere, special summon Galaxy Soldier to your side of the field, and then use its effect to add another copy of Galaxy Soldier from your deck to your hand. Now, the reason you play Galaxy Soldier in this deck is because the Vylon Cube is going to help you out a lot in particular reasons like this, where you're going to synchro these two together, and then you're going to summon out your copy of Epsilon, and then since you sent Cube as a synchro material to the graveyard, you get to add an equip spell from your deck to your hand. It can be any equip spell from your deck to your hand, but I always recommend adding from your deck to your hand your copy of Segment, just to make it so it's not targetable by monsters. That's really a hard card to deal with against your opponent. So you can activate the copy of Segment, and then activate United We Stand, boosting this monster up by an additional 1,600, and then it also gains those additional attack points as well. If we draw into the next turn, you draw into a Machine Dupe, which is not going to be super helpful, and you just start pecking at your opponent with your copy of your Epsilon. If you draw again, you draw another Segment, which again is not going to be super helpful, but once you get your monster out on the field, it's not that big of a deal to deal with your opponent's plays. So let's go ahead and shuffle up for a third test hand and see what we can pull off in the next one. Just keep in mind, as you're looping Element and you send your cards to the graveyard, your copies of your equip spells, you need to activate them as soon as possible to be able to grab those cards out of your deck. I totally forgot as I was playing because I got ahead of myself, but just keep that in mind. So, for the next play that we're going to go into, let's see what we can draw. We're going to draw into a Rod of Silence Chaos, a Mage Power, Filament, Living Fossil, and Goblinberg, and if we're going second, because we totally bricked right there, we're going to draw into a Double or Nothing. That's why you pile shuffle the deck. That's very important to pile shuffle your deck. So let's go ahead and pile shuffle this time and see what we can do with this next one. So, if we're going to pile shuffle this time, we're going to see what we can get for this next one. Especially when you start searching, that's what I wanted to show you guys too. If you start searching cards and you run through the deck and get all of your equip spells in your hand as quickly as possible and send them to the graveyard, you want to make sure that you pile shuffle between games or you'll get a hand like that. That's really bad when you get a hand like that in a deck like this because it has so much potential to get out cards on your side of the field. And then you run into a situation like that where you can't really handle anything because you're just having to summon Goblinberg out and then equip it with a bunch of stuff and hope for the best, and your opponent's like, what is this? What is this deck you're playing? So we're going to go ahead and cut the deck and see what we can do for this hand. So we're going to go ahead and draw into a copy of Cube, Goblinberg, Cube again, Prism this time, and a United We Stand. So if we're going first, this is going to be our hand. I'm just going to show you. I'm not going to play the hand, but we're going to draw into a Galaxy Soldier, which would be super helpful if we go second. We can actually make two synchro plays right here. Let's go ahead and show second. Second would be really interesting. Let's just show that. Okay. So if we're going second, you could normal summon out your copy of Goblinberg, special summon out your copy of Prism to your side of the field, and then use the copy of Galaxy Soldier in your hand, special summon that Galaxy Soldier to your side of the field, and then add from your deck to your hand another copy of Galaxy Soldier. Now, the search effect of Galaxy Soldier is once per turn. Now, you can activate its effect, the send to graveyard effect, as many times as you want, which is what's really neat about it. So, If we want to do that to make a big beat stick on the field, you could feasibly send your cube to the graveyard to be able to special summon a second Galaxy Soldier to your side of the field. Now, if you had a rank 5, which I don't play rank 5s in this deck, you could feasibly go in for an additional play, but here's where things get really interesting. Go ahead and link these two together and summon out a copy, well, link these two together. Well, no, you have to use a tuner, so you can link these two together. Link these two together and summon out a copy of Crystron Needle Fiber. So once you summon out that Needle Fiber, this is going to trigger, pay your 500 and equip it to a monster, say the Goblinberg if you want to, and then the Needle Fiber will trigger, letting you special summon from your deck a copy of your Prism back to your side of the field, which is pretty nice to be able to just summon that card back to your side of the field. Let me double check that. This card is, level 3 or lower, excuse me. So you could special summon out a copy of Cube. Cube would probably be better anyways because you could use these two together. So we're going to summon our copy of Cube to our side of the field. This is not activated right now. This is just in our hand. We're going to go ahead and synchro these two together and summon out a copy of Epsilon. So once you summon out that Epsilon, actually, yeah, let's summon out the Epsilon. Once you summon out Epsilon, you're going to have an additional play on your side of the field because you're going to have your copy of your cube in the graveyard, which is going to activate a copy of Segment to your side of the field. Then you can use United We Stand on your copy of Epsilon, which is going to help your Epsilon go up by an additional 2,400 attack points on your side of the field, getting it really, really, really big, up to 5,200 on your side of the field. Now, if you want to make it even bigger, we can make it bigger. You can send this to the graveyard, summon out your copy of Link Cross, and then get yourself 2 tokens on your side of the field, which is going to help you out even more, which is going to get you an additional 8, 16, 3,200 on top of the 2,800 that it's already sitting at, which would be sitting at about 6,000 attack points, which is pretty good. So let's go ahead and do another test hand. We'll do one more test hand at least and see what we can actually pull off for this next one. So Link Cross comes up sometimes where you get the tokens, and sometimes you'll actually synchro with those tokens. It just kind of depends. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for the last test hand. So let's go ahead and shuffle this up. And thank you so much, Gloomba, for being a patron. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much to all my patrons. You really make this a lot of fun to be able to build these decks and give me new ideas, and especially help out with getting a hold of the decks like Vylon to be able to build them for you guys. So thank you so much, Gloomba. I really appreciate it. So let's go ahead and draw. You get an Element, Tesseract, Double or Nothing, a copy of Segment, and a copy of Element. Now this is where you run into the hands that are a little awkward. If you're going second because the hand is bad, we're going to draw into Duplication, which is not going to be super helpful. Let's go ahead and do another one. Say that's a bust hand, and go ahead into another test hand. That wasn't super great because you didn't draw into the cards that you particularly needed, but let's go ahead and see what we can do with the next one. So we're going to go ahead and draw for this one and go into a Prism, Vylon Element, Component, and a Cube. Okay, so this is again kind of a bust, but it's not terrible because you can normal summon out your copy of your Prism. If you're going first, you can just do something very simple and set it and pass. Let your opponent destroy it, and then when you draw for turn, you're going to draw into a Segment, which is going to help you out a little bit. Or you can, instead of summoning it that way, you could summon it in attack position, equip the copy of your Component, activate Element, and when it's destroyed, you do get to special summon to your side of the field. If this gets destroyed and then this gets destroyed, the copy of Element will trigger, and then your copy of your Component will trigger, getting you a monster and a search. So we'll search the copy of Segment, and we'll special summon from our deck a copy of, let's see, what do we have in hand? We have Cube in hand. Let's go ahead and grab a copy of Sphere. Let's summon Sphere to our side of the field. That might help. Let's go ahead and summon that to our side of the field, shuffle up the deck, and if your opponent lets it live, then we're going to go ahead and draw for turn, which is going to be a copy of our Penta. So we're going to go ahead and normal summon out a copy of Cube, and the copy of your Sphere will synchro together, and summon out a copy of Needle Fiber, which then will let you special summon from your deck a tuner monster, which can be any of your tuner monsters that you want except Prison, which we can summon out Cube. Cube would be the best bet to search out of this deck because you can get to your really cool combo. Now you can send this to the graveyard, summon Link Cross, get the 2 level 1 tokens, synchro this together right here if you want to synchro these together right here, get a search, and get a summon of a level 4 synchro monster, which can be your copy of your Herald of the Arclight, which is going to be super helpful. Which then you would get a search and a special summon, which I would special summon out a copy of Prism, and I would search a copy of Material again, and then you can still get some really cool plays where you can synchro summon again if you want to. You could synchro summon for 9, you could synchro summon for an 8, you could synchro summon for 5 if you played a 5, but I would probably just go for the Epsilon play where you go like this, synchro these two together, summon out your copy of Epsilon. The copy of your Prism will equip to the Epsilon, drop the copy of Material, and drop the copy of Segment on the Epsilon. And then if you want to, you can send an equip spell to your graveyard, which could be your copy of Material if you want to send Material to graveyard, and pop a card on your opponent's side of the field, which would give you a little bit more advantage, but it's totally up to you. So, not a bad field at all. So, that's it for this test hand, guys. I hope you enjoyed this Gloomba. It's a really interesting deck that can go into a lot of different plays. It's mainly focused on summoning Epsilon and getting Epsilon out as quickly as possible. There is moments that you can commit and go into a copy of your Omega, but it's a little bit tough to get into Omega because of the amount of materials and these precise materials that you need to go into that particular card. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a really fun deck to play around with, and it's pretty budget as well. Cube is a little expensive right now, and Sphere is a little bit expensive right now because of Infernoble, but I think by the next list, they'll drop down a little bit if they hit the smoke. On the next list, I think that'll be a little bit more budget and they'll drop down in price. So that's it for this list, guys. That's it for this test hand. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and thank you so much, Gloomba, for being a patron. I really hope that I did justice for your Vylon deck, and I really hope that you enjoy playing with it. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.